So today I've been listening to Drake's freestyle entitled Fighting Irish, and it's a great song. Despite what these Kendrick fans have to say, many of these Kendrick fans are delusional. No matter what kind of music Drake puts out, they're going to hate it, even if it's an absolutely perfect song with an absolutely perfect beat and perfect lyrics. They're going to find some reason to hate on it because that has become like the new trend nowadays. In order to be cool, in order to be with it, in order to know what time it is, you got to basically jump on that Kendrick bandwagon. That's the mentality that a lot of people have. And a lot of people don't even think for themselves. They just see that something is the trend, so they go with it and they ignore the reality. Despite the beef, this song right here proves that Drake is a great MC, regardless of what all these haters say, discounting his skills and all that stuff. And the fact of the matter is, the numbers don't lie. This man is still dominating the streaming numbers. He's the most streamed rap artist this year, even though he doesn't even have an album out. He's the most streamed artist. Despite quote unquote losing this battle with Kendrick, he's still on top lyrically. He's still at the top of his game. And I think that a lot of these Drake haters, when he finally releases his album, all these people gonna flip. A lot of them are gonna be riding the Drake train again, just like they have been doing for the past 15 years when he's been dominating the charts. But anyway, one of the things that I really like about this song is just the lyrical content of it. I enjoy the beat of it, the instrumentals, the melody of the song. And one of the things that I really like about Drake's music is that, unlike a lot of rap artists that focus on posturing and they focus on, just simply bragging and, they focus on machismo and presenting this strong image as if they have no flaws and all that kind of stuff. Drake basically bears his soul in a lot of his music. He talks about the mistakes that he makes. He talks about, the hurt that he's experienced, the betrayal that he's experienced. He lays it all out, unlike a lot of these artists. And that's one of the things that makes his music relatable. And that's one of the things that a lot of these people don't understand. A lot of people think that it's all about how deep and how complex your lyrics are, or how many double and triple entendres you have in a song. But at the end of the day, it's not about that. It's about whether or not your music touches people, whether or not people have a connection to your music. And I think that Drake's track record proves that people are connected to his music. And I'm connected to his music because I like how he's talking about his feelings of betrayal. He talks about how he felt betrayed by his quote unquote friends. He talks about how the world, in this particular song, he talks about how the world fell in love with the gimmicks. And even my brothers got tickets. And he's talking about like how people that he thought were down with him ended up going to that Kendrick concert, ended up literally having a ball with the ops, literally were vibing to a song calling him a certified P word. And I won't say it because I don't want to deal with the censorship here on TikTok, but you get the picture. And he talks about how this beef between him and Kendrick was not just business, it was personal. That's showing a kind of vulnerability that you don't hear in music. He talks about how, despite his success, despite him making record numbers and all that kind of stuff, people around him, a lot of these people around him and his so-called colleagues, instead of celebrating his accomplishments, they hated on it. They had envy towards him, despite his success. Like, that's what happens a lot of times when somebody is successful. Instead of people celebrating them, they find reasons to hate on him. And I think that that's, at the end of the day, what this whole beef is like. part of what this beef is about. It's about jealousy, and it's about people hating the champ. You know what I'm saying? And they want to root for an underdog, and that's why they have been rooting for Kendrick. And despite all this energy around Kendrick, despite all this praise and people talking about how he won this and that, Drake is still dominating when it comes to streaming. Drake is still dominating when it comes to a lot of these award shows. And, I could go on and on, but one of the things that I found interesting is that with Billboard, Drake won Best Rap Artist of the Year, even though he doesn't have any album out. And Kendrick, the man who's supposed to represent the culture and all this and that, and be, Mr. Black Savior and all that, this man won for Pop Artist of the Year. Despite all this talk about culture and not like us, this guy Kendrick is doing a lot of music with people who are literally not like us, while he's talking about a rap artist not being like us. So, it's just really interesting how Drake really reveals like his disappointment with these so-called friends that betrayed him. He talks about how, loyalty wasn't given. He talks about, like, I like the way he laid out how they thought that they buried him, but they buried a double, a body double, and all that kind of stuff. Because if they buried him, he still wouldn't be on top. Despite all this stuff you hear online, the rhetoric online is not matching up with the actual math. It is not matching up with the numbers in terms of the streaming. It's not matching up with the awards that this brother Drake is receiving. And one thing that really touched me in this song is when he talked about how people started to mess with his family. And he talked about how we're going to prison. Basically saying that people mess with my family, I'm prepared to go to prison. And we can crash out together. I thought that was a powerful line in this particular song. And, I was having this debate on Facebook with a colleague from college, and they were basically talking about the fact that Drake went after LeBron James, and they were questioning why he would do so. And I fully understand why Drake would go after LeBron James. And I'm sorry that this is a long video, but I got a lot to get off. But I fully understand why he would go after LeBron James. Here's a man who's hanging out with your ops, dancing with the ops, vibing to a song, is calling him a certified P. Of course, Drake has every reason and every right to speak on that. Of course he does. And any person with any kind of feeling would do the same. They would feel betrayed. They would want to say something about that betrayal. And it's really interesting how Drake basically threatens to expose LeBron James. And as others have said here on TikTok, I'm really interested in hearing like what kind of things can he expose. And LeBron James is somebody that I respect as an athlete and as somebody that gives back to the community. But I'm really interested in knowing what information does Drake have that he could expose. And the last thing I'll say is this. I like how Drake shouts out the Muslims in his song. He talks about how he's developed a deep respect for the Muslim religion. So I can't help but respect that. So tell me what y'all think about this new Drake freestyle. Peace.